What is up, guys? Rick, Frustrated Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be showcasing a brand new weapon that will absolutely make its mark within the Destiny 2 meta in Season of the Worthy and beyond. And so, let's get started. Now, if you're wondering why am I frustrated and why I'm still on console right now, you can skip ahead if you don't care, but yeah, my PC blew up. It just stopped working, the GPU completely fried, so I had to order a brand new one with Evolve PCs. They set me up and overnight shipped it with UPS, and to their credit, they got it in my city overnight, and it's been sitting in a warehouse for, it's gonna be a week now, a week in a warehouse. And of course, there's coronavirus, so UPS is probably swamped as heck. And the poor employees are having to deal with all of that while having a terrible company infrastructure. Guys, they called me to get my phone number because instead of just communicating within their own company, they had to call me, so I had to call a different department to give them the number that they already had. So pretty much my PC broke down at the worst possible time, but honestly, these are crazy times overall. Everyone stay safe out there. But that's the update on the situation. Now let's talk about the weapon. It is the brand new Summoner Trials of Osiris auto rifle, and this thing has some very powerful rolls. And actually, I was able to get both god rolls, the PvP god roll, or at least in my opinion, the PvP god roll and the PvE god roll. So let's take a quick look at this weapon, and firstly, the PvP god roll. So that's gonna be ricochet rounds for more range and stability combined with moving target, which makes it so that you can move faster while aiming down sights. Essentially, you can strafe side to side faster than your opponent, giving you an edge in PvP. And then lastly, rangefinder for simply more raw range. And then if we look at the stats of this weapon, it belongs to the 600 rounds per minute auto rifle archetype. 42 rounds in a magazine is phenomenal, and the stats overall, range is great. Stability, it could maybe use a tiny bit more, but all the other stats are great as well, and that is really why this gun is a big deal. It's a 600 RPM auto, and these are slapping in the meta right now. Oh my goodness, I'm sure you guys know. Firstly, the Hardlight, and then the Suros are slaying out within the Crucible right now. They are both huge parts of the meta. Now the thing is, the Summoner is straight worse than either of those two guns in PvP. So why are we talking about it? Well, both of those two guns are exotic. So if you want to use any other exotic, the Chaperone shotgun is doing amazing right now. It's somehow got a damage buff, and also stuff like the Wardcliff Coil, phenomenal heavy weapons. If you want to use any of that stuff and you still want to use a 600 RPM, it has to be legendary, and therefore the Summoner with this role performs just very well in PvP. This whole archetype got a big buff. No, it's not going to be as good as a Hardlight, obviously. This is going to have a damage range, but you're trading off the benefit of being able to use another exotic, and potentially, if you're really good with the Chaperone, like I said, that's going to be more of a benefit to you than the negatives of using a slightly worse 600 RPM auto in the Summoner compared to the Hardlight, of course. So yeah, this whole archetype's doing fantastic, and for legendaries, the Summoner is great in terms of stats and possible rolls. And I really did like my roll. I was able to, really combat people at ranges that didn't feel too close quarters. I was able to extend ranges and win gunfights from pretty far distances away. Then, of course, we have the PvE role, and since I'm more of a PvE guy, this is what I'm more interested in. Now, the absolute PvE god roll is going to be, well, I have an extended mag, that's probably going to be slightly what you want. You definitely need more stability than range this time, but mainly you're looking for Overflow, which makes it so that picking up heavy and special, Overflow the magazine, and then Rampage. And obviously you've got to put on a Rampage spec, and honestly the ability to put on a Rampage spec is one of the reasons I'm starting to really like Rampage more as a perk. Yes, multi-kill clip and kill clip are great perks, but there's no multi-kill clip or kill clip spec. So you have that very short window where you're getting a damage bonus, and then when that goes away, it goes away. Rampage combined with Rampage spec really makes it easy to just ramp up that damage and keep that at times 3 30% damage bonus for a ridiculous amount of time. And this thing with Overflow is pretty nuts. When I pick up Special or Heavy, I get 100 rounds in a magazine. So that's insane. Like, that is absolutely crazy. 100 rounds with an auto rifle doing 30% more damage than it otherwise would in an archetype that's been buffed is crazy. And that last part, in an archetype that's been buffed, everyone is talking about auto rifles in PvP, and obviously that is where they've made a big splash. But when you increase the base damage, which is exactly what they did to make them deal more damage in PvP, that base damage is just scaled up quite a bit in PvE. So you're doing 25 damage for a headshot within PvP now, and previously you're doing like 22 damage. Well, that 25 damage is just increased, it's times 6 or whatever it's going to be, times something involving your light level, and that is going to be your PvE output damage. So that base damage increasing also increases your PvE damage output, so all the auto rifles that got buffed and everyone's fawning over them in PvP, they're also just hitting harder everywhere in the game, and that really, really does matter. It makes these weapon archetypes better everywhere. But I think the real star here is Overflow. Now, you could actually get this role before of Overflow plus Rampage, and you could get it specifically on the curated role of the Gnawing Hunger auto rifle, which is another 600 RPM auto. But what makes the summoner special is better stats, honestly, but also it's easier to get. And I know that might be pretty crazy to some people. What? Trials? Easier to get? Trials is a nightmare to do. I don't have a team. I don't want to go in there and get slayed. But I'm telling you, it's really not that bad. All you need to get this summoner 100% guaranteed this weekend is 5 wins. And you can have as many, well, you can have up to 3 losses, but 5 wins and 2 losses is not that insane to do. And, you don't have to go flawless. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, it's so difficult to get flawless, and it is. Once you get to like 6 or 7 wins on your card, you're often versing really good opponents. Like, it is no joke going flawless. But the thing is, it's not like you only get the summoner for going flawless. In fact, flawless has really nothing to do with acquiring this weapon. Once you kind of unlock it at that 5th win mark, in fact, you may not even need to, but you just pour in tokens. So you can grab the passage where you get more tokens for a win, 5 tokens for a win, and then you can just win 1 or 2 games, get your 3 losses, no big deal. Win 3 or 4 games, get your 3 losses, reset. 2 games, 3 losses, no big deal, reset. Just keep doing that. Just farm tokens and get the Trials bounties as well, and pour all of your tokens into Saint 14. That's how you farm this weapon. It has nothing to do with going flawless. So even if you don't have like this absolutely cracked team, you can still just go in Trials and simply just take your wins, and losses are also going to give you some tokens too, and just pour in your tokens into Saint 14. That's really all there is to it. And to get the Gnawing Hunger, you have to again get that curated role from Reckoning, which not too many people play right now. And it has to be specifically the week where it's dropping. So again, not the easiest role, but speaking of Reckoning, the thing that really makes this gun is that perk that was introduced within Season of the Drifter, and that is Overflow. Rampage, obviously good. It's the thing that pairs with Overflow the best, because Overflow, obviously making your magazine 100, as I mentioned earlier, is insane. And you really don't want to be reloading and having something like Kill Clip to increase your damage. You want Rampage, which you can consistently keep up throughout those 100 rounds. But some interesting things to note about Overflow. Firstly, if you pick up special ammo and your special is full, you don't get any Overflow benefit. Like, it does not pick up that ammo. So you do have to be consistently switching to your special and using it and shooting it all the time and so on in order to actually pick up special ammo and engage the overflow perk. So you'll actually often see me just fire off a few rounds like in the air at nothing just to go over that special ammo and then get the 100 rounds. The good news is that if you switch off your weapon after it's got the overflow perk and you have 100 or whatever rounds in the magazine, it will retain those rounds. And if you have your shotgun out, let's say, and then you run over special, it will overflow your weapon as you switch to it. Like, you don't have to have your weapon out to get the overflowed magazine. And those are really, really good features of overflow. And the other insane thing is that overflow, even if you have like one round in the magazine, it doesn't really add a consistent bonus, right? Like, it doesn't add 50 more rounds all the time. It will add all 100 if, again, you have one round in a magazine. And that makes it insane. That makes it so that you never actually really need to reload this weapon. You simply shoot, and when it gets low, you switch to your shotgun or whatever your special is, use that until you go over some special ammo, and then switch back to your reloaded to 100 rounds magazine. And that play pattern of just switching quite often is really beneficial, and it means that you'll almost never switch to your primary and have to reload. So I've absolutely been having a ton of fun with this weapon and with this role. I do want to mention that if you want to go all in, you can pair it with a machine gun in your heavy, and then you can use the Actium War Rig exotic chest piece as a Titan, which is going to automatically reload not only this weapon because it's an auto rifle, but also it automatically reloads your machine guns too. So this thing combined with the Xenophage or even the Thunderlord or something like that with the Actiums to benefit like both guns, if you want to just go all in, that's how you do it. And last thing I want to mention, if you're wondering why is your gun glowing red, it's because with all of the Trials weapons, they're normally glowing yellow and gold, but if you put on the Trials emblem, like the Flawless emblem, and you've gone Flawless that week, it will glow red. So if you're wondering why that is, that's why. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.